Alright guys, welcome to the next video. And this video is the poker coding assignment. Now in this assignment, we're going to be creating an application that determines the ranking of a card hand based on the given input. We're going to give the application 5 poker card values. Based on the set of cards given, we will determine the type of hand that it is. Now we're going to break down what poker is. What is poker? Poker is a game of gambling, strategy, and skill. It's also a game of ranking by poker hand. Each player is given 5 cards, and the hand is a set of cards given to a player. So basically, what I mean by this is that it's a game where the players are wanting to get the highest ranking based on the current hand that they have. That's pretty much what the game is. So, you may be asking yourself right now, what are all the types of poker hands? Alright, so as you can see here, I have a picture, and these are every type of poker hand ranking. The first is a royal flush. This is the highest ranking in poker. Right below that is a straight flush. Below that we have a 4 of a kind, and then a full house, a flush, straight, 3 of a kind, 2 pair, 1 pair, and a high card. So what I want to do right now is actually break this down for you so you kind of get a better understanding of what each one of these hands are. Alright, so let's start off from the top. The highest hand in poker is a royal flush. And a royal flush is a hand containing an ace, king, queen, jack, and a 10. And they all have to have the same suit. So as you can see in the example right here, we have an ace, king, queen, jack, 10, and they all have the same suit. Alright, next is going to be the straight flush. The straight flush is 5 cards of sequential rank, and they all have the same suit. So here we have 5 cards of sequential rank. By sequential rank, we're gonna say that they are descending incrementally. So we have 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. This means that this hand has sequential rank. Pretty much it is descending incrementally. Alright, so 5 cards of sequential rank, and they have the same suit. And as you can see, they have the same suit, which is diamonds. Next will be 4 of a kind. This is a hand with 4 cards of 1 rank and 1 card of another rank. 4 cards of 1 rank and 1 card of another rank. Ace, 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 and then 9. And the suit doesn't really matter here. Next, we have a full house. A full house is a hand that has 3 of the same rank and 2 of the same rank. So 3 cards of the same rank and 2 cards of the same rank. So in this example here, 3 cards of the same rank, which are queen, 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 and 2 cards of another rank, which is jack, jack, and a jack. Next is going to be the flush. The flush is when you have 5 cards of the same suit and no sequential rank. So as you can see here, there's no sequential rank among these cards, but they all have the same suit. Next is going to be a straight. A straight is a hand that consists of 5 cards of sequential rank and not of the same suit. So as you can see, the straight is of sequential rank. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. They don't have the same suit. After that, we have the 3 of a kind. 3 cards of the same rank and 2 non-paired cards. So as you can see here in this example, 3 cards of the same rank and 2 non-paired cards. So 3 cards of the same rank, 2, 2, 2, and then the non-paired cards would be 5 and the queen. Next is going to be the 2 pair. This is when you have 2 cards of 1 rank, 2 cards of another rank, and 1 card of another rank. 2 cards of 1 rank, which would be ace and ace. 2 cards of another rank, king and king. And then we have one card of another rank, which would be a 9. After that, we have one pair, which is simply a hand that only contains 2 cards of the same rank. So as you can see here, ace, ace. Only 2 cards have the same rank in this hand. And then last would be the high card. This is the lowest poker hand. This means that this hand doesn't match any of the above rankings that I just mentioned. And this will be labeled as a high card. So without further ado, let's jump right into the code. Alright guys, so welcome to the coding portion of this video. So as you can see, I've already created myself a Java project, the Poker Project TCI for the coding interview. I also have 2 classes, an app.java class as well as a card.java class. We're going to get to this card.java class in a minute, but we're going to first of all start off with this app.java class. So to pretty much just give you an understanding before we dive into the coding, we're going to basically just be creating an application that allows a user to enter in 5 cards, and our application is going to determine the poker hand ranking of that set of cards that the user passes in. So what we're going to do, we're going to first of all start off in this app.java class, and before we start, I'm just going to zoom this in for you guys. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to need is we're going to basically just have a system.out.println piece of code that's going to allow the user to enter in 5 cards separated by spaces. So let me first of all just add a comment here, which is going to be begin the program by telling the user to enter 5 cards into the console. Alright, so or we can go not by telling, we can go asking, by asking the user to enter 5 cards into the console. Alright, so this is how we're going to go about doing it. sys sysout.println, and then we're just going to go enter cards separated by spaces. And I can be more specific and just go enter 5 cards separated by spaces. Alright, we can just save this, and obviously if we print it out, run the application, enter 5 cards separated by spaces, and then basically the user can enter in any 5 cards separated by spaces. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add another comment here and just go create a scanner object that's going to be used for reading the console. So that's what we're going to be doing next. I'm just going to add the comment here. Used for reading from the console. Just going to go scanner sc equals new scanner. And then we're just going to go system.in. Then we're just going to import. So basically what this line of code does is just prepares the application to read whatever the user types into the console. And to actually retrieve that value that the user enters, we're going to go something like this. Alright, so basically just scan the 5 cards that the user passes in once the user presses enter. Alright, so we're going to need a place to store the 5 cards that the user passes in. So we're going to go something like this. String entered cards. And then we're just going to basically set that equal to SC dot next line. And that's pretty much it. We basically just have a string, and basically we're taking the sc.scan next line, which is basically going to scan the value or the list or the 5 cards that the user enters into this string right here. All right. Now, the next thing that we need to do a check. We need to make sure that the user enters in exactly 5 cards. So when it comes to a poker hand, we're going to need exactly 5 cards to determine the ranking of that hand. So the first thing that we need to do, let me just add a comment here, make this easy for you guys to follow. While the cards entered is not exactly 5, repeat this All right, let me read this out for you guys. So while the cards enter is not exactly 5, repeat this code and restart the program. So basically, every time the user does not enter in 5 cards, I either want the program to restart. Well, ultimately, I do want the program to restart so that they can enter in the 5 cards again. So it's going to look something like this. While enter cards dot split dot length not equal to 5, then I want to do something. So basically, while the cards entered is not equal to exactly 5, I want to do this. System.out.println try again. Please enter exactly 5 cards. Then I want to go SC equals new scanner system.in. Then I want to go entered cards equals sc.next line. All right. So this is pretty straightforward. Hopefully this is easy for you guys to follow so far. So basically what's happening here is that I have a while loop which is going to continuously check to see if the user enters in 5 cards based on this entered card string that I've created. I'm then going to say if the user does not enter in 5 cards, we're going to print this out. System.out.print, please try again, enter exactly 5 cards. We're then going to create a new scanner, and then we're going to check this once more. So the sc.next line is going to be added to this entered cards. Then what's going to happen, this loop is going to continue until exactly 5 cards are entered. And we can actually try this out right now. I'll just show you guys right now. So enter 5 cards separated by spaces. So let's just say, for example, I enter in 4 cards. Let's just go King of Hearts, Ace of Spades, 2 of Diamonds, 3 clubs, 3 of clubs. All right, so as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if I press enter, try again. Please enter exactly 5 cards. So let's try entering in exactly 5. King of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, Ace of Spades, 2 of Diamonds, 3 of clubs. All right, so if I press enter, I don't get this system.out anymore since I've entered in exactly 5 cards. So if the user enters in exactly 5 cards, we can then move on. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is this. I want to actually create an array list of cards entered by the user. So I need to actually create an array list next. So after this while loop, I just want to go something like this. Create an array of cards entered by the user. I'm just going to go something like this. String cards equals entered cards dot split by space. All right. So I'm going to create this. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here, I have the string of entered cards, and basically I'm turning it into a cards array list. And this array actually is going to be populated um, based on these spaces. So every space, for example, like every space between here is going to be added to this card array. All right, so before we move on, what we're going to do, we're going to go into our card.java class. We need to actually create the card object. So if you think about a card object, the card object, if you just pull out a card from a deck, you're going to notice that the card is going to have two things, a face and then a suit. So in this card class, we need to add these data members here. Public string face. All right. And then public string suit. Now, after that, we're basically just going to need to add a constructor, which is going to look something like this. Public card, and then string face, string suit, and then just go this dot face equals face, this dot suit equals suit. All right. And then we also just want to add this. All right, so basically I want to explain what's going on here. So basically, when we create a card object, we need to be able to pass in the card's face as well as the suit. And we're going to do that in our app.java class. And another thing that we need to do in this class is this. We need to provide some getter and setter methods. I believe there's a way to add this here somewhere. If not, we can just create it by hand. Okay, let me zoom out for a minute. Generate getters and setters. Go to OK. All right, so we have our getter and setter methods here. So basically, we'll be able to set the face as well as retrieve the face from a card object. So this is all we really need for this card.java class. So go ahead and just save it. And then we're going to make our way back to the app.java. All right, so in this app.java, let me zoom this in once more. All right, so after we create an array of cards entered by the user, we're going to actually then go about and create an array list. And basically, when it comes to this array list, we're going to create an array list to actually hold these card objects. So we're going to go something like this. My cards equals new array list. All right, so we have our array list here. Let me just make some more space. All right, so the next thing that we're going to need to do, we're going to need to actually create a loop to loop through the origin card array, and then we're going to add each card's face and suit to this new array list that we've created right here. So let's just go here and let me add a comment. I like adding comments because it basically just gives a clear picture of all the code that I'm writing for you guys. So I'm hopefully make it easier for you guys to understand. Loop through the origin card array and add each card face and suit to the list. So I'm just going to go for int I equals 0. I is lesser than or equal to cards.length minus 1 I plus plus. All right. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to take this array list here, this my cards, and then we're going to add my cards dot add. Then we're going to add a new card. So new card string that value of position I, char at 0. String dot value. I'll explain this in a minute. I dot char one second. Let's see. This is going to be string that value of cards at position I dot char at. All right. Save this real quick. All right, so basically what's happening here is that I've created a loop, and this loop is going to iterate through each one of the cards in this array right here. And as it iterates through each element within that array, we're going to have this my cards array list. And in this my cards array list, which is empty here, we're going to add each one of the cards to this array, but we're going to add it as a card object. So as you know, in our card object here, we have a face and a suit. So what I'm doing is I'm retrieving the face as well as the suit, and then I'm entering it into this my cards array. So as you can see here, we have, for example, King of Hearts. We have a face, and then we have a suit. Okay, so the face that we have here is going to be cards at position I at position 0. So for example, in the first iteration, we would have a K, which would be populated here, which will be a king. And then in this first iteration, we're also grabbing the char at position 1, which is going to be this, the heart. So what's happening is that this loop is going to add each one of the cards with their associated face and suit to this array list here. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. So after this, all right, so after this loop, we're going to have another class called determine the hand. And I'm going to implement this later, but I'm just going to add the code for this now. Equals new determine the hand. My cards, and also I'm just going to add a little comment here. And determine the hand for processing. It's all going to make sense later. All right, so we're going to implement this determine the hand class in a minute, but basically it's going to be a class that is going to be used to determine the hand that the user enters. So if the user enters in 5 cards, what's going to happen is that it's going to go through this class, and they have different methods, you know, in this class that are that these cards are going to be passed in, and then from these methods we're going to determine the actual ranking of the hand. So we're going to go ahead and implement this determine the hand class right now. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do now is create the class determine the hand. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new class, determine the hand. I'm going to go to finish. And basically what this class is going to do is going to be a class that consists of functionality for determining the hand ranking. So I'm just going to add a comment here at the top, a class that consists of all functionality for determining hand ranking. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, let me zoom this in for you guys. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to add some data members. And basically, we're going to have 2 data members to start off with. These are going to be data members that are going to be keeping track of the card hand as well as keeping track of the sorted card hand. So I'm just going to write a little comment here, data member that will keep track of the hand. It's going to have two data members here, array list of type card hand equals new array list. All right, then we're going to have another array list, also of type card, sorted card hand. All right, so basically I just have two array lists here. One array list is going to hold the value of the cards that are entered in by the user, and then the second one is going to hold, is basically just going to be an array list of all the cards that are sorted. So basically there's going to be other functionality that I add here, which is going to sort the card hand after it's been passed in, and I'm going to add it to this array list, this sorted card hand. It's going to be a new array list. All right, so another thing that we're going to need is a Boolean. Now, we're going to need a Boolean to basically check if the card hand is descending incrementally. So basically what this means is if the user enters in a set of cards, what's going to happen is that I'm going to add functionality to sort that hand of cards. And after it's sorted, I need to check if this card hand is descending incrementally. So that's what this Boolean is going to be used for. So this is going to go something like this. A Boolean to keep track of 5 cards in the hand are descending incrementally by rank. All right. All right, so basically, when I say descending incrementally, this basically means that, let's just say you have 5 cards, right? And when you have these 5 cards, we need to check if each one of the cards is moving to a lower rank among all of the 5 cards, pretty much. So basically, for example, if we go back, let me just zoom out real quick. If we go back to presentation here, you'll see this royal flush is an example of one. So we said that a royal flush basically has the ace, king, queen, jack, and the 10. So basically, as you can see, this is descending incrementally, which basically means that we start off with an ace, which is the highest, and then the second highest will be the king, third highest will be queen, and then the jack, then the 10. As you can see, they're all going down by rank by 1, pretty much. Ace, king, queen, jack, 10. So that's what descending incrementally basically means. It basically means that you're going to have 5 cards and you're going to go down to the second highest rank, then the third highest rank, then the fourth highest rank, and so on. So that's basically what descending incrementally is. But I'm going to get more into that later when I get into actually implementing the functionality for that, which will make things a whole lot clearer. But first of all, let's just go ahead and create this Boolean. Public static Boolean is DESCEND, descending incrementally. Set that equal to false. All right. Now we're going to move forward with a couple more Booleans. And these Booleans that I create now are going to be Booleans that determine the status of the hand. So, Boolean that will determine the status of all hands. So these Booleans are going to be very, very helpful down the line. And they're going to look something like this. Public static Boolean is royal flush. These are initially going to be set to false. And then we're going to do the same for all the other hands. Public static Boolean is straight flush false. Public static Boolean is 4 of a kind equals false. Public static Boolean is full house equals false. Public static Boolean is flush equals false. Public static Boolean is straight equals false. Public static Boolean is 3 of a kind equals false. Public static Boolean is 2 pair equals false. Public static Boolean is high card equals false. Alright, so as you can see, I don't think I missed anything. You got the royal flush, just straight, 4 of a kind, full house, flush, straight, 3 of a kind, 2 pair, actually I'm missing one, public static Boolean is pair equals false. Alright, it's pair equals false and then high card. So this is going to be very, very helpful. So basically, the reason that we have these Booleans is we need to determine, based on the hand that the user passed in, we need to determine if the hand is a royal flush or not. If it's not a royal flush, it's going to make its way down to this, and we're going to check if the straight is, if the hand is a straight flush, and then so on until we get to the very end right here. And if the user enters in a combination of cards that does not match any of these hand rankings, then this basically means it's just not a hand in poker. Pretty much, it's not going to be labeled as any type of hand. All right. Now, the next thing that we need to do is actually create ourselves a constructor, and this constructor is gonna have a parameter of an array list of cards. So let me just write out a comment for this really quick. All right, so this constructor will keep track of the actual hand passed in and prepare it so we can determine the type of hand ranking it is. All right, so I'm just going to go public determine the hand array list card the passed in hand. And then I'm just going to go this dot hand equals the passed in hand. So basically, I can use this dot hand in any method that I create in order to retrieve the hand that the user has passed in. Alright guys, so next what we're going to be doing is delving into some helper methods, and these methods are not going to be used exactly to determine the hand of the cards, but these are going to be used to assist us in determining the hands of the card. So the first thing that we need to do, we're going to create a method called the sort hand method, and this method is going to return an array list of type cards. First, let me zoom this in for you guys. So the first thing I want to do is basically just add a comment to explain what I'm going to be doing here. So it's basically just going to be a method that will sort the 5 cards passed in by the user. All right, and I can just clear this console. All right. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be a method that will sort the 5 cards passed in by the user. So we're going to start off with this public array list of type card sort hand. We're just gonna return that hand for now. All right, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is create a hash map. All right, hash map of all ranks in card deck. That's the first thing that we're going to need to create. So basically something like this, hash map. And then this hash map is going to take in an integer and a string. And I'm going to name this HM ranks equals new hash map. All right, and as we know, hash maps are a key value pair. So the key is going to be an integer, and then the value is actually going to be a string. So I'm just going to start coding. It's just going to go something like this. HM ranks dot put 0 A. All right. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to add all the ranks in this hash map in incrementing order. So we're going to have a key value pair. As I said, the key is going to be an integer, and then the string is going to, and then the value is going to be a string. So these strings are going to be the ranks. So I'm going to create a rank for each element within this hash map. So I'm going to go something like this. HM ranks dot put 1 king, and so on. HM ranks dot put 2 queen. HM ranks dot put, let me just make some more space. Put 3 jack. HM ranks dot put 4 okay T. This is going to be 10. HM ranks dot put 5 9. HM ranks dot put 6 8. Ranks dot put 7 7. HM ranks dot put 8 6, HMRanks dot put 9, ranks dot put 10, 4. I can just copy. Three, 2, 11, 12. Alright guys, so as you can see here, I've created a hash map with each one of the ranks, okay? And each one of the ranks are associated with a key. So the key 0 is associated with the rank of ace, the key 1 is associated with the rank of king, the key 2 is associated with the rank of queen, and so on. We got our queen, jack, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. All right, and this hash map is going to actually help us with the sorting. So I'm just going to continue. The next thing I'm going to do is actually create an array list. Array list that holds origin card. Hold on. Array list that holds origin cards initially passed in by the user. All right. So basically, we're just going to have ourselves an array list, and I'm going to name this array list origin card hand. All right. So basically, like I said before, this origin card hand array list is going to hold the original card hand. But what we need to do right after this is actually create ourselves. We're going to actually create ourselves a card object. So let's do that right now. So basically, this current input value is going to be able to keep track. We're actually going to be using this to keep track of the current card within the original card hand, and you're going to see how we do this in the next set of code here. So the next thing that we're going to do, we need to go ahead and iterate through the input that is passed in from the user. So we're going to first start off with a for loop. For n(i) equals 0, I is lesser than this dot hand dot size. I plus plus. Then I'm just going to add a comment up here. iterate through the input passed in from the user. All right, so as you can see, we have the this.handSize, and we created a loop which is going to iterate through the array list of the cards that are passed in. So we're going to have those cards that are passed in right here, and we're going to iterate through them. First thing we want to do in this iteration is hold current card in the origin hand. All right, so let me just explain this. So you remember the current input value that we created up here. We're going to have that current input value, and that current input value is going to hold the current card in the origin hand. And we're just going to go current input value, and then we're going to set that equal to this dot hand dot get at position I. After we do that, we're going to create two other variables of type string. The string is going to be the face as well as the suit. This is something that we definitely need to keep track of when we're making our way through these iterations of the original card hand that is passed in. So I'm just going to go string face equals current input value dot face. And if you can remember, when we create this input value, we already know that it's a type card. And in the type card, you already know we have our data members here, the face as well as the suit. So we're going to be able to keep track of both of these. Then we're just going to do the same thing for suit. We then are going to create a card and then add it to the array list. That's the next thing that we're going to do. Create a card and add it to an array list. Card equals new card face and suit. And then we want to take that origin card hand, and then we're going to add this card to this origin card hand here. Origin card hand dot add card. All right, so to just give a little bit of an overview, this should be pretty straightforward. So basically what we're doing, we're taking the cards that are passed in, and what we're doing, we're iterating through each of the cards that are passed in, okay? And what we're doing here is we're taking the current input value and we're assigning it this dot hand at position I. So this is now going to be stored in this current input value. So as soon as that's stored in here, what we're going to do, we're going to grab the face of the card as well as the suit of the card. After we do that, we're then going to create ourselves a card object and then add it to the origin card hand array list. So we're basically just taking whatever value is passed in from the user and just adding it to this origin card hand. That's basically what we're doing up to this point. And we're going to iterate through this until all the cards have been added to this origin card hand. The next thing that we need to do is hop out of this loop, and we then need to compare the origin cards passed in with the rank hash map that we created earlier. So basically these HM ranks hash map, we need to take the card hand and compare it with each one of these elements in this HM ranks map. Because since we're trying to go ahead and sort it, we need to find a way to compare whatever is in our hand with the order that these elements are in this HM rank map. So we're basically just going to be comparing based on the order these ranks with the ranks of the card hand that was passed in. All right, so in order to do that, we're going to have to first of all create this sorted hand array list. So you remember I created this sorted hand array up here as a data member. So this is where I'm actually gonna instantiate this sorted card hand. We're gonna say equals new array list, and then I'm just gonna go for int I equals 0. I is lesser than HM ranks size I plus plus. And then we're just going to go for int j equals 0. J is lesser than origin card hand dot size j plus plus. All right, so as you can see, we're iterating through the HM ranks as well as the origin card hand. So eventually in this code, in these two loops inside of here, we're going to have to find a way to compare what's in the hand that we passed in and compare it against the HM ranks. And we're going to just go ahead and start doing that now. First of all, I'm just going to go string s equals HM ranks dot get at position I. And then I'm going to go char current rank equals s dot char at 0. And just give me a second. Just want to add some comments here. All right, so basically what's going on here is that we have our two loops here, and I've created myself a string, and this string is going to be set equal to the HM ranks.get at position I. So basically this variable here, this s, is going to hold this HM ranks.get at position I. So HM ranks.get at position I, let's just say we're at the first iteration, it's going to be this value here, which is going to be A. And it's going to continue that iteration. And what we're doing, we're just holding the value we're basically just holding the value or the rank of this hash map here. So first iteration is going to be A, second iteration K, next one Queen, next one Jack, and then so on. All right, what we need to do next is this. If origin card hand dot get position j dot face dot equals string dot value of current rank Then sorted card hand dot add